Usually what we do as a collective is we push away from that and we hide it under the rug. So to be able to talk about collective trauma means that you sit with the people around you, starting with your family, starting with the people that are closest to you, and talk about the things that nobody wants to talk about, and say, be curious about it with a lot of compassion, with a lot of empathy, and say, tell me more. And how did you experience? I experienced it this way. How did you experience it? Maybe we can share some of the things that we lived through. And I think one of the things that has helped with collective healing is creating spaces in the community, maybe through the leaders of the community, maybe through people that are very active in the community, and say, let's open for a difficult conversation about things that have happened to us. And because we're curious to hear how everybody lived this, like what it's like for you as a second generation communist, child. For example, that's a huge thing to talk about and say, but maybe nobody wants to talk about it, but everybody has it and everybody has lived it. So to open for conversations like that in a safe environment, in a protected environment, where everybody can feel. And we start small sometimes. Sometimes we start with a small group and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they say, okay, how do we tell a story about ourselves that makes sense? Okay, we went through this period of a lot of trauma. Then we're trying to heal. How do we redefine our identities? What you and me want to do for the future to talk about this. So we integrate that trauma, but we also create a new narrative about our community, about our culture. That is not just that trauma, but it's something else. Like, for example, the inner conference is part of a culture now, like people being more conscious, people wanting to be more aware, being more in therapy, for example. So it's not just like, okay, we're a country that went through so much trauma, but we're a country that is so open to evolution, to growth, to understanding.